Welcome to In the Zone podcast. Today is May 23rd, 2023, and I'm your host, Diamond Zone. And y'all, whoever's viewing today are my diamond heads. Welcome to In the Zone podcast. In the meantime, we're going to wait a couple minutes so we get to today's topic. So in the meantime, listen to some 70s, 80s, and 90s rock classic. The first one is Dire Straits, Sultans of Swings. The song is Sultans of Swings, made by Dire Straits. So stay around and enjoy the music. All right, my diamond heads. Today's topic is boredom and autism. A lot of things when it comes to autism. When it comes to autism, there's a lot of things that'll be weird for us, or either weird for us, or will be or be too much of when it in certain things. And when it comes to boredom, yeah, it's something different. When it comes to boredom, when it comes to autistic people and boredom, this comes from a person who has both autism and ADHD. For me, whenever I go to school, whenever I get too bored in class, I tend to, like I mentioned in I believe in my first podcast, I mentioned that that whenever I get too bored in class, I tend to zone out. Yeah, basically it is that. But for other people who do have autism, it's different. It could be different. Another way of trying to be engaged when I'm bored is fidgeting. A lot of people. All right, sorry, I got distracted for a moment because I love Queen. Anyways, when it comes to boredom, trying to stay focused, we tend to fidget. So that's why stuff like stress balls, fidget spinners. I'm going to turn this down a bit. All right. Anyways, when it comes to boredom, trying to stay active, stuff like stress balls, fidget spinners, anything that we can fidget around, anything that we can use to fidget, help us keep focus. I think I have another fidget in my backpack, so hold on for one split second. I should really be more prepared for this, so hold on. Poppers. Alright, I'm back. Anyways, stuff like fidget spinners. Um, Also popper. These popper things right here. Oh yeah, these will help us stay focused because we're doing something with our hands. Um, if ain't so yeah, stuff like this could be found almost anywhere. If anything, fidget spinners can be found at not at grocery stores. Well, maybe at grocery stores, but at gas stations, dollar stores probably, Walmart probably. Oh, I'm really getting annoyed with me hitting my cord like that. Anyways, um, stuff. But yeah, fidget spinners, pop. These pop things right here. There's also the stress ball. These will help us stay engaged. These usually helps us stay engaged when it comes to like trying to stay focused. Uno momento, por favor. All right, there you go. All right. So yeah, stuff like fidget spinners, stress ball, um, popper, um, these fidget pops right here. These will help because these will help us be engaged. This will help us stay focused. Um, this will help us stay focused when it comes to boring tasks and trying to learn stuff that we don't like to learn but we have to learn, aka school. Yeah, if anything, stuff like this will help us stay focused, stay on top of things and whatever. If anything, these will also help us whenever we're starting to like drift, like in a way drift to sleep or anything. Um, because we're not being engaged. Our minds are not being engaged when we're just sitting there, just taking down notes. We're not being engaged. So of course we're going to get bored. We're going to either fall asleep or look somewhere else. If anything, fidgets help a lot for people with autism, ADHD, ADD. Help us stay focused. When it comes to tedious, quote unquote um, un, tedious task that doesn't engaging. That's not engaging with us. So yeah, it's a way for us to stay focused. It's also helpful. Yeah, it's really helpful to have fidgets. So without stuff like fidget spinners and whatnot, we're not going to be able to stay on task, stay focused. We're going to forget what we're doing, or forget that we're in a class and we just tend to or fall asleep or just stare off out the window. So yeah, useful to have fidgets. When it comes to outside of school, like outside of school and school stuff, um, when we're trying, when it comes to like let's say chores, tedious the tedious chores that we don't like to do, um, we can get bored with that pretty easily, like especially when it comes to yeah, tedious tedious chores that we don't like to do. Depending on what it is. For me, I don't like cleaning dishes because I don't. A lot of times I don't like to get my hand so soaked, whereas to a point where it gets um to a point where it gets too grainy in a way. Gets too grainy. That's why I don't like to do. Don't like to hand wash my dishes. So I always like to put my dishes in a dishwasher. Um, but yeah, if anything, I tend to get bored when it comes to dishes. There's ironically there's bugs in here. So if I tend to swivel my head around, I'm trying to catch the bugs. So don't mind me. Don't mind me. Ironically, there's bugs in my and me and my brother bombed the house a couple weeks back. I had my window open because it's starting to get way too hot for spring. And summer's supposed to start later on I want to say around June or July. It's coming close to the end of May, but that's just that. I don't want to get off track of what I'm trying to talk about. Anyways, when it comes to chores, it will be depending on what chore it is for me. It is I don't like to like I said I don't like to hand wash the dishes because I don't like the feeling of I don't like to have grainy or wrinkly fingers, and it does get annoying to feel so, and just like I don't like to feel that. And also also washing like hand washing dishes itself. I don't like to do that because I don't like to do that constantly because I'll get too stressed trying to be like, all right, is there any other spots in the cup? Is there any other spots? No, because I'll be a little bit picky when it comes to washing dishes because I want the dishes to be clean. So when it comes to dishwashing, I don't like it because I'll get too stressed over small spots, and just like I'm going to stress over it. Um, but we're not talking about stress. We're talking about boredom. Stress will be another. Stress will be another time. Um, but when it comes to, but when it comes to like some of the easy, chores like washing clothes, depending on yeah, I'll say like depending on either what time or where I'm washing clothes because recently the washer and dryer isn't working for us at the moment, so we have to go to a laundromat. So if anything, we've been using the laundromat here and there. But when we had our but when the washer and dryer were working, if anything, I don't stay in the garage washing looking at the washing machine when it's starting because I have other things to do. It doesn't make sense for me to stay in the garage just be like watching it spin. See, like I mean, it can be entertaining sometimes, but it can be entertaining sometimes. But at the same time, it's just like I don't want to keep on doing that. I'll get my head hurt. It's funny, yes, but I'm just like I'd rather not do that so often. It is funny. Like for me, it's funny. Uh, but yeah. But for example, if I'm in the laundromat doing my clothes, cleaning my clothes, and if I don't have coins and if I don't have my phone, um, I'm just waiting. If I'm just waiting for the washer to be done with my clothes to be put into the dryer. And if I don't have my phone and if I don't have any type of entertainment, I'll just fall asleep because I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do. I'll just be like, what should I do? I don't see no magazines. Oh wait, there. Oh no, never mind. There's no place I can go to in the meantime. Well, I do have my cart, but no, I don't want to go too far because I'll get distracted with something else. So yeah, I'll be like that. Yeah, I'll be like that, and I'll be like, what else can I do? You know, that's if I go that's if I go to the laundromat. Sorry, that's if I go to a laundromat without my phone, without quarters, because they do have a coin machine. They do have like a quarter pusher, like one of those machines that push out quarters and other items like either knickknacks or money as well. Push out other quarters, get money for it. put other quarters in there that you won. It goes in that circle. If you have enough quarters, which I don't have enough quarters, so it does make sense for me to play that machine. But nonetheless, it is like fun to like watch as the coins fall into the machine. It's entertaining. It's entertaining. But when it comes, well, I slowly did get off I slowly did get off topic. Um, but this is all relevant though. This is all relevant. When it comes to boredom. Um, when it comes to boredom, like I said, when it comes to boredom, it depends on what's going on. Like in a school setting, like if we're not doing anything and the teacher's just talking, taking and we're just taking notes, I'm going to be bored on my mind without my fidget spinner or without my phone. I'll be bored. I'll be bored. Either be dozing off, be like, mm, or just look out the window, just be like, yeah, like I'll literally be zoned out. I'll literally be zoned out and just have a huge imagination of my own adventures of random stuff. But when it comes to let's say talking to friends. Let's say talking to a group of friends. Um, if I'm not engaged in a conversation, like I mentioned in a couple podcasts ago, I have mentioned that I tend to be quiet when it comes to group conversation when I'm not getting involved, and I'm there. I'm not able to put in my input. I like I mentioned, I tend to just stay quiet, and just listen. That'll be that. If anything, that'll be another scenario. If anything, that'll be like another scenario of me daydreaming of what I want to do when I go back home, or just having my own imagination, my own adventure, imagination adventure, and just have my own internal dialogue or whatever. Until someone starts me out and be like, "Hey, what do you think?" I'll be like, "Wait, what? Wait, what are you talking about?" It'll be in that scenario. It'll be something like that, and just be like, "Eh." It's not annoying. It's not annoying to have sometimes because there'll be points where it's just like I have nothing. I have nothing to do, so might as well have like my own imagination. Like have my own imagination and be like, hmm, I wonder what happened if blah blah blah, or have my own internal dialogue and have my own adventures in my internal dialogue. It'd be like once upon a time where blah 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 blah, and continue on the story from there. Which is pretty, which is entertaining itself because I have my own adventures. I have my own internal adventures and be like, wow, with all this in mind, I should really write a book. But I don't like to write that much. I don't like to write that much. I don't like to read. I don't like to write because school has messed that up for me. I'm just like I hate reading. I hate writing. So yeah, thanks a lot school for for ruining my reading and writing. Hold on. Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot school for ruining the imagination of reading and writing. Thanks a lot. Now I completely hate reading and writing. Now unless if I'm reading manga, that's a whole different story because I actually can see what's going on. There's a term. I know that there's a term where I cannot visualize my imagination, but I do have imagination, but it's just not visually there. I know that there's a term for it. I forgot the term for it, but that's another story for that's another topic for another time. Anyway, anyway, so yeah, it's basic. So yeah, boredom, boredom for us is just like it has its own strengths and weaknesses, like everything. Like everything has its own strengths and weaknesses. It's just like it just depends on the look, like depend on the situation and how a person utilizes it. Like I mentioned before, it's just like um, depending on how like I mentioned before, is something like depending on where you're using your imagination, just are you gonna have a meaningful conversation, or is it just everyone's just gonna be talking and I'm just not gonna get my input for a while, or is if or I'm just going to be listening in, and I'm not gonna respond to anything because I don't either have a chance to or I'm not allowed to. So depends on yeah boredom and autism when it comes to imagination. It's a blessing. It's a blessing mostly. It could be a curse as well because at the same time when you get lost in your imagination, is you and when someone snaps you out of it, it's just like, oh wait, like it'll be like, oh wait, what's going on, like type of thing. It's just like it's weird. Like sometimes it's weird. It's like it is time blindness basically. And time blindness, I have experienced it a couple times, not constantly. I have experienced time blindness multiple times, and it's just like, wow, a lot of time has passed, and I'm just doing one thing. To be honest, it's amazing. Time blindness is amazing sometimes, and it's really useful as well, especially when you're trying to get stuff done, and you barely have anything to do. So it's just like, all right, let me see where my imagination takes me. So yeah, boredom and autism helps sometimes depending on the situation. But yeah, fidgets. But when you're trying to focus, try to stay focused, fidgets helps a lot because you are stimulating your brain. You are being stimulated. You are being physically stimulated. Being physically active, even if it's just small bursts like this. You are doing something while focusing as well. So just like so, if anything, I'm gonna use my fidget spinner, more often now, with my live streams and my with my podcast. Basically, I'm gonna use this more often. But yeah, during my live streams, I'm going to be using this more often because sometimes it's hard for me to think of what else I need to talk about, what else I'm going to talk about within the conversation. As you can tell, I always say, or what else should I talk about? If you haven't noticed by now. But yeah, I'm going to start using this more often when I'm trying to figure out what else I need to talk about, within the topic. But yeah, like yeah, boredom. Depending on where you are, it'll be fun. To be honest, it'll be fun if I'm bored and I'm at a wedding. I'll be like, to be honest, I have been to a wedding before. Uh, it's from a taekwondo class. I went to um um my teacher's wedding, and it's really beautiful. I do have pictures, but I'm not gonna post it. I'm not gonna show it on here. I'm not gonna show it on here because, well, one, y'all don't know him, and it is a special event, so I'm not gonna post that on here. But let's say that I go to another wedding, or let's say I go to let's say I go to a funeral. Ironically, I have been to a funeral before as well. It wasn't pretty. So, but nonetheless, let's say I go either to a wedding or to a funeral again, and I'm just bored on my mind, and a lot of people and the bride and groom are just talking. Let's just say it's funny that I'll be like, all right, I'm bored. Let me see where my imagination takes me, and then all I hear is then all I hear is blah 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 blah, and I'll kiss the bride a few minutes later. I'm like, wait, what just happened? It's funny. It'll be funny. Or 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 on the funeral sense, let's say same scenario, but I'm just like in my imagination. Then someone says, "Is oh my god, have anything to say?" I'll be like, "Wait, what?" It'll be an awkward silence. It'll be an awkward silence. It'll be so funny. For me, it is funny just to think about it. Just think about it is really funny. But yeah, but yeah, stuff like that, stuff like that is funny to think of because it is somewhat of a hypothetical thing to think about. At the same time, it is a real. It could be it's a somewhat of a hypothetical because it can and can't happen. It can happen, and at the same time, it can't happen. So so yeah, it's a hypothetical, but nonetheless, it is really funny to think about. Ugh. It is it is really funny to think about. Not much to talk about when it comes to boredom autism, huh? Well, if anything, I might as well call it early. Sadly, um, because there's not much to talk about when it comes to boredom and autism because it is simple stuff. Like it is, like it is like common knowledge. It is like common knowledge when it comes to boredom because everyone experienced boredom. So yeah, it is more of a common. It's more like a common knowledge. So that's why it's not much to talk about. Unlike um uh, let's see, what else have I talked about on here? But yeah, but when it comes to boredom itself, it is more of a common knowledge. So it's not much for me to talk about or to explain when it comes with boredom and autism because it is the same thing as neurotypicals experience when it comes to boredom, but when it comes to neurodivergent people, it is just like enhanced by two, like times two or something. In my experience, it is in some scenarios, in some situations. Boredom is one of them. Boredom is one of them. Excitement. Boredom, excitement. Um, Anger is another one that's also high. It's also something I experience. That everyone experience, but it's enhanced. So boredom, excitement, anger, frustration. So stuff like that is really uh it's really not much to explain about. It's not much to explain about. So with that in mind, I'm going to do open chat right now. I'm going to do an open chat right now because like I said, it's not much to talk about on here. This is where that's why I say for open chat you can ask questions, make comments, ask questions, make comments because it's really important. It is really important to ask questions, especially when you don't know something or you're trying to figure it out. Like if you don't know something, ask questions. If you understand it, but it's still trying to like if you understand it and still trying to like have a better understanding of it, another reason to ask questions. But yeah, ask questions, make comments. Because like I said, this is something that is that it is not much to like something that's not much to think about. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn up the volume. Music go? Will you let me go? No. Yeah, sure love ads that ruin my music. I sure love ads that ruin music. No, 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 oh mamma mia, mamma mia. Beelzebub as the devil put aside for me, for me, for me. I can't hit that high note. Well, I can, but it's going to strain my vocal cords. So, ooh, my head. I just got a small whiplash for a moment there. If anything, I'm learning how to play guitar. Have my electric guitar right here. Let's see. I have my electric guitar right here. It's on my bed. So yeah, ask questions, make comments. Today's topic is again boredom and autism. Again, not much for me to talk about or explain unless if y'all ask questions. So at this point, like I said, there's not much for me to explain. Again, not much for me to explain. Um, Not much for me to explain when it comes to boredom and autism, because well, like I mentioned, we all experience boredom, so it's not much for me to explain about, except just to make it simpler. When it comes to stuff like boredom, happiness, sadness, all that stuff. When it comes to emotions, it's enhanced for us. So it's just like what like if we both are experiencing the same anger, it'll be like a neurotypical anger is right here. Then neurodivergent will be just like around here. It is not it is common. In a I don't know how else I can explain it, but yeah. So at the moment, it's an open chat right now because, like I said, it's not much for me to explain about. So ask questions, make comments, make comments. Um, yeah. If anything, if there's a lot for me to talk about when it comes to topics, I usually start open chat. I usually start open chat around 40 minutes, around 40 50 minutes. If there's a lot for me to talk about, if not, then I'll just go on 30 minutes and at 40. But if it's a lot for me to talk about, open chat will be at 50. Actually, be at 40. We'll be around 40 or 50. Then at the end, blast up the music to 40%. I'm thinking. Then it'll be, and that's when I close it out. And when come, I know I've made it. I know I've done this yesterday because it was wild. So when it comes to like so I'm just going to explain this real quick. When it comes to previous topics, like if for some reason if Twitch mutes my videos for some reason, I'll redo it in the weekend. Like I'll redo it on the weekend, try it again, and then see what I can do differently, and then post that up on YouTube the next day. So, yesterday, yesterday's topic was skateboarding. So, yesterday's topic was skateboarding. After once I was done filming, actually once I was done doing the live stream, all of a sudden, when I saw it was mute, I was like, oh dang, that's a bummer because I talked a lot about it. So now I'm gonna redo that topic on Saturday. So yeah, I'm going to do skateboarding topic on Saturday, and everything else is going to fall into plan unless if it's the same thing. If it's the same thing, if it's the same thing within three or four, three or four topics, I'm gonna make a new list. I'm going to make a new topics list. But yeah, for those of you that jumped in, for the one person probably that jumped in, um, like I said, this is an open chat. This is right now it is an open discussion. The topic is boredom and autism. If you have any questions, ask your questions right here. Ask your questions. Make comments. Yeah. If anything, there's 4 minutes left to this, so you can either stay and listen to the music that I have. Right now, playing 70s, 80s, 90s rock classic. I have no clue what this song is, but nonetheless, I like to listen to it. But yeah, ask questions, make comments, please, so I can interact with my viewers, please. I like to interact with my viewers as well. It's not just about when it comes to my podcast. It's not just about me. It's also about my viewers as well. Because I also want my viewers to ask questions, and make comments. Sure, make an ad while the music is on. I don't care about Temu. I don't care about that ad. Anyways, like I was saying, this podcast is not mainly about me. It's not mainly about me and my experience. It's also about the viewers, and if they have any questions about stuff about autism, ADHD, stuff like that. Of course, I'm not going to be constantly talking about stuff like. Of course, I'm not going to be constantly talking about autism and ADHD. I'm also going to be talking about fun stuff. Like last week, last Friday, I was talking about boba tea. Yesterday, I was talking about skateboarding. Yeah, it's going to be fun stuff it's going to be fun topics that everyone can interact with, that anyone can talk about. And when it comes to stuff like neurodivergent stuff, if anything, I want my viewers to ask questions. Like whoever is viewing my live stream, I want them to ask questions. Like, of course, ask questions that isn't hurtful. Of course, yeah, ask questions that isn't hurtful. Like if you're genuinely curious about it, and like if you're genuinely curious about stuff like that, ask away. Like I said, it's not just about me. It's also about all of you, you guys as well. So we're coming into the last minute. So no questions. If there's no questions, just listen to the music and just listen to the music. If there's no questions. All right. Well. All right. Any? Wow, caught that question on time. what inspired me to want to start a podcast? If anything, what really inspired me to start a podcast? Um, if anything, I want to maintain a good conversation that lasts for more than a couple minutes. I also want to practice on my, in ways, on my, um, me of being more open to people. So I also want to talk about my experience as well, within my 23 years of life. So that's what inspired me to start this podcast, to start the In the Zone podcast, because one, I know I need to work on my social, on my, um, well, talking. I need to work on talking a little bit more, being more social. So me starting a podcast challenges me to talk for an hour. If I have the if I have the topic that can help me talk for an hour. Yeah, yeah. So for me, more talkative. Also, me being more expressive, and also sharing my experience within my 23 years of life as a autistic and ADHD person that has been to elementary that's been to elementary through high school and some parts of college. That's basically why. Any other questions? Any other questions? No worries. No worries. You're fine. If anything, like I said, my podcast is usually up to an hour. It usually is up to an hour. I try to make it. I try to make it like try to talk for the whole hour. This one was a little bit tough for me to talk for a whole hour. I'm unable to talk for half an hour. That's why I had the open discussion early, because this is the one time where it's just hard for me to like talk about boredom and autism. Like this is the one topic. Probably there's going to be more topics about. There's probably going to be more topics that'll be hard for me to talk about as well. Well, hard to keep up the conversation with. So, so for a reminder, um, so a reminder, my podcast is usually for an hour. Around the 50-minute mark, that's when I have the open chat. Regardless, you can chat regardless on here. That's a regardless. You can always chat on the stream chat. Um, but around the 50-minute mark, when I'm able to talk for a whole hour, the 50-minute mark is to ask questions, make comments, and then when it's at 59 minutes, that's when I shut it down, and then the next day I'll post this up on my YouTube. So yeah, so yeah, after an hour, after an hour, give or take, I shut this down. Um, I I go on with the rest of my night. Then the next day, sometime in the next day, I'll post this up on my YouTube, and you can look through. And you can look through the whole hour. You can watch the whole hour of my podcast. I already have like around three. Let me go. Let me go check. Let me check on my YouTube really quick. All right. So I already have four videos up here. So let me flip this around. All right. All right. So if anything, I have my podcast up on here. As you can tell, it's all dated. This is my very first podcast. This is my very first podcast. Then it's like I said, it's all dated. And of course, I know. Of course, this is going to be my. This podcast right here is supposed to be my sixth one I'm going to be posting up on here, but there's been technical issues where I'm not going to be able to post my podcast on my YouTube. So I got to redo it on the weekend. All right. I hope that explains everything. Now, with that in mind, if there's no other questions, yeah, you're welcome. All right. With that in mind, it's already the 45-minute mark. I open up the Q&A. That's what I should have called the Q&A. I open up the Q&A at 30 minutes, and it's been 45. So at this moment, take care, have a good night, and see you all in tomorrow's podcast.